Hello friends, a city is being built in Saudi Arabia that looks straight out of a science fiction movie. A futuristic city designed in a line 170 kilometers long. This line is 500 meters high, which is even higher than the height of the Eiffel Tower. Only 200 meters wide, and there are very large mirrors on both sides. Inside it will be full of greenery and many futuristic technologies. According to some estimates, the total cost of building it it can reach up to $1 trillion. And Saudi Arabia's claim is for the year 2045. Can this really be possible to build and get ready in the city? What could be the pros and cons of this design? And the impact of such mega projects on the rest of the world? We try to understand all these things in today's video. Whenever Saudi Arabia is mentioned, two things immediately come to mind: deserts and oil. Although it is true that most of the country is surrounded by desert, you can see a typical desert climate in Saudi where the temperature can go up to 45 degrees Celsius during the day. And at night it gets very cold, but if you look at its lava, Saudi is geographically quite diverse. You'll find savannas, mountains, and volcanic fields here. In fact, there are over 2,000 dormant volcanoes in Saudi, many of which are active volcanoes. Economically, Saudi is the largest economy in the Middle East and the 18th largest in the world. But it's true that this economy is mostly dependent only on oil. Their major export is petroleum, and Saudi Arabia is the world's largest exporter of oil. But as countries around the world want to end their dependence on oil, Saudi is very interested in diversifying its economy. Just like other countries in this region, such as the United Arab Emirates, they also try a lot. The reason for eliminating dependence on oil is what led Dubai to strive to become such a big tourism hub. Similarly, Saudi has come with its plan Saudi Vision 2030. The aim is to develop in other aspects of the country, such as health, education, infrastructure too. Promoting tourism and non-oil exports is part of this Saudi Vision 2030 plan of the country. Building a smart city was decided by Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman for a very large area of his country for the development of this Neom smart city. Now, Neom itself is not a smart city, but this name is used for a region. Within this region, there will be several cities, numerous resorts, and many other developments. In total, this area of Neom will be about 26,500 square kilometers. And its location would be somewhere in the northwestern part of Saudi Arabia, in the northwestern part of the Red Sea. This total size is equivalent to half the size of Uttarakhand state. There's a geographical reason behind choosing this area, as it has a comparatively moderate climate. The meaning of the word Neom is quite interesting in itself. It is made from neo plus M. Neo is a prefix that comes from ancient Greek and basically means new. For the new one, and I'm here representing two things. The prince's name is Mohammed bin Salman, so Mohammed becomes M. And the other is an Arabic word, mustaqbal. Its first letter is also M, and this word means future. We want to build an ideal city that we think is the new future. According to the developers, there will be 10 different projects inside Neom, which are called 10 different regions. Details of 4 out of these 10 regions have already been announced. The first one is Oxygen, octagon-shaped float. It will be made into a next-generation industrial center. The other is Torch, which will be the first major outdoor skiing destination in the Arabian Peninsula. Its opening is set to be in 2026. Only 3 years later, and not only that, this area has already received a bid to host the Asian Winter Games. In 2029, it will be hosted on one of Saudi's highest mountain ranges, and the temperature here will often fall below 0 degrees Celsius during the winter. However, it is said that the snow used here will still be man-made because there isn't much natural snow. The third is Sindala, a luxury resort complex located outside the city's coast that can accommodate approximately 2,400 people. This will be a luxury island spread over 840,000 square meters, where there will be plenty of things to do. And the first part of the Neom project will open, as its opening date is stated to be next year, in 2024. This comes back in 2024, our fourth and most unbelievable project. The line was announced on January 10, 2021, and many people doubted whether it would be made or not. It is just being imagined. But at this point of time, this construction has already started. So it's a big doubt whether such technologies to create these things exist with us or not. The most special thing about this project is its design. A caterpillar 170 kilometers long. This whole city is situated between 200-meter high skyscrapers. Buildings that will be linear, will move forward in line and will not be outside. There must be a mirror. The idea in itself is not new. Similar ideas were proposed in the 1800s and mid-1900s. However, then there were not so many resources and money to do all these things. I'm not implementing. This city example is an example of a concept from the 1960s named archaeology. Archaeology is made up of the words architecture plus ecology. This is a field where architecture can be used in such a way that we create densely populated areas in cities. A city that minimizes damage to its surrounding environment in the most efficient ways. This is cited as one reason for the dial-in concept. Why line up this city so that the surrounding natural landscape is minimally damaged? Some real-life examples inspired by this archaeology principle still exist, such as in Antarctica. Such research stations where thousands of people can live, work, and remain insulated from their outside environment so as not to damage the outside environment and be completely self-sufficient. The Lion project will also strive to do the same, as its width will only be 200 meters. This means the area of 170 kilometers 200 meter is only 34 square kilometers. And according to its developers, around 9 million people will live here. This is the population of New York City, but if we look closely, it's almost the area of New York City. The area is 20 times smaller. So the overall footprint has become very small within this city. Multiple layers have been planned vertically so that people can move in 3 dimensions. And they have named this new concept zero gravity urbanism. From above, their developers claim that Neom will be powered 100% by renewable energy, solar, wind, and hydrogen-based power generation is being used. Inside it, there will be no roads for transportation, no vehicles, but there will be walkways, parks, green spaces instead. And because it's a 170-kilometer long line, high-speed transportation will be used to connect the line end to end. The internal design will be in such a way that everything is within a 5-minute walking distance. Because this line will go from one end to the sea, this is also seen as a huge potential for trading. An airport will be built above, located in such a way that 40% of the world's goods are only 6 hours away from it. This is because in itself, Saudi Arabia's location is such that it becomes the central point for Europe, Asia, and Africa. Then their developers claim that they seamlessly integrate artificial intelligence into the line. Here, systems will be created in both personal and commercial life, which will gather data, analyze it, and cater to everyone personally. If you understand the dark side of the Dealing project, perhaps it might never be possible. But the biggest challenge in completing this line project will be money. This project is being financed by Saudi Arabia's Sovereign Wealth Private Investment Fund. This is essentially a fund created by their country's government, which has a lot of money. It is estimated that there is $620 billion worth of money in this fund. But there are 2 problems here. The first is that this fund money is heavily dependent on the economy of Saudi Arabia, which is based on oil. The price of oil can fluctuate a lot in the market. For instance, in 2020, Riyadh had a fiscal deficit of $79 billion. And this is a country where 60% of the resources are directly related to oil. In 2021, only 9% of their exports were non-oil exports. So if this huge project will get funded from here, it's quite volatile money. I don't know how much will come in the future. This money will fall down. But the second problem is that even if all of the $600 billion fund is invested in this project, even that won't be enough. The initial plan was to complete Neom by 2030. And for this, $500 billion have been allocated. Some reports suggest that this thing will continue till 2050. No. And due to this, the cost will increase even more. It is for this reason that it is estimated that the cost of this entire project could be $1 trillion. Now, even they don't have $1 trillion in their fund, so the rest will need more investors from foreign countries. And from our research, we figured out that they have had some discussions with foreign companies. There are some Russian companies, but Saudi Arabia has not been successful in attracting more or less foreign investment regarding this project. The second major problem comes with technology. If a project like Line is to be made in reality, a lot of such technology will be used here that doesn't exist in reality. Like their transportation system, their developers said there will be a high-speed transportation network, but they didn't specify whether it would be a train or a metro. But their claim is that it only takes 170 kilometers in line to get from one end to the other. The traveling speed will be more than 500 kilometers per hour. And today, friends, there do not exist any technology that provides such high speed. Currently, the fastest train in the world is Shanghai's maglev train, which has a top speed of around 430 kilometers per hour. It is true that a Japanese maglev train broke the top speed record in 2015. A speed of 603 kilometers per hour was achieved in a test run, however. Let's see the Wi-Fi test run. In regular operations so far, we are not reaching more than average speeds of 430 kilometers. No one has made such 500 meters high glass yet. Theoretically possible, but practically no one knows what challenges will come. Making such tall glasses, especially if they are going to travel 170 kilometers in one direction, their purpose wasn't made clear. For now, it seems these have just been applied for aesthetics. The project will look very futuristic and nice, so glasses have been installed on the outside. No practical use of this has been explained yet. There are many things in this project that have never been tried before. No one knows if it's practical. Will it be possible or not? The third point is about the environment. Even though they've claimed that it will have a minimal impact on the environment, hence it's being constructed in a straight line. But what impact will putting glasses towards the outside have on animal movement? It could be very dangerous for migratory birds. Also, creating a continuous wall in which there is no space to move from one side to the other. It will interfere a lot with the crossing of land animals. Many people from above have criticized this thing for calling itself a big, sustainable and zero carbon emissions project. But building skyscrapers that are 2,000 meters tall, covered in glass and extend so far, it is next to impossible to make them with carbon material. Professor Philip Oldfield of UNSW says that to achieve all this, a phenomenal amount of steel, glass and concrete will be needed. And just to create this line, it releases 1.8 billion tons of carbon dioxide. The entire UK, which emits its carbon emissions, is equivalent to this in 4 years. Due to its environmental impact, Neom was also criticized in October 2022. This won the hosting rights for the 2029 Asian Winter Games. What's the point of hosting the Winter Games in a country where there was naturally no place for the scheme to exist? We create everything in an artificial environment. How much more impact would this have on energy and local water resources? Then comes the architectural problems. The line design is true that it will save a lot of area. But this will also greatly increase inefficiency in many mines, such as transportation. If the entire city is in a straight line and there's only one transportation route to get from here to there, all 9 million people who will live in this one city will depend on this one route. Which means that if there's a problem anywhere in this entire 170 kilometer route, the city's transport will be delayed. A single point of failure can be very dangerous for such design. And finally, the last problem comes, friends, people. Even if all these separate challenges are overcome and some ways found to deal with all these problems, question will arise here. Will people want to live in it? Imagine spending 2400 hours in a city where you are totally cut off from the outside environment. You always seem to stay near the environment of an artificial building. If you want to go out and enjoy the open air, you won't get anything. As soon as you step out, you will look back and you can only see a mirror far away. From the top to the inside, there will be constant government surveillance. You were tracked. It sounds more like a dystopian science fiction city than a livable one. What's your opinion on this? Would you like to live in such a city? Let us know in the comments below.